We are all looking for adventure. We are all looking for adventure.
Hey guys, welcome to the Marriage Adventure Podcast, where we help reconnect couples with Christ and with each other.
We're your hosts, Daniel and Bonnie Hoover, and today we're talking about something that every couple deals with at one point or another: busy seasons of life.
Ooh, don't we all? Don't we all? If you were listening, I always say that, like, if you're listening. Like, if you're not listening, you're not hearing this.
No, they're not.
You probably shook your head. Yes, things are busy, things are crazy. So whether it's work deadlines or kids, sports, church commitments, whatever it is, life, it just does not slow down. It keeps coming. And if we're not careful, then we can start to feel kind of more like roommates than soulmates, right?
And that connection can open the door to resentment and temptation or even just drifting apart. But the good news is busyness doesn't have to steal your intimacy. There are ways to protect your marriage even when it feels overwhelming.
Yeah. So in today's episode, we're going to be digging deeper into my topic I talked about in my weekly marriage coaching video. So if you haven't heard that on YouTube, go and like and subscribe to that channel and listen to that. But we're going to be digging deeper into that. We're going to talk about practical ways you can guard your relationship and stay connected even during busy seasons. And you know, it's like right now I think we're right up on fall break. And so we're getting ready for fall break. And it's so funny. You're getting ready for a break to go to the, beach or vacation or whatever. And it gets even busier before you leave.
Well, you got to get everything done so that you can take that time off. You have to almost work double to be able to, well, you do. You have to do all the stuff you're supposed to do for the next week. And
Yep.
yeah, that makes it even busier.
Even crazier. So Matthew 6:21 though says, "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." And that's kind of a priority alignment verse, isn't it?
Yep, because what you focus on it reflects what's in your heart. I mean, it tells you where you really are passionate. It's like when you spend all your money on one thing, well, that's pretty much what you love. And if you spend all your time on one thing, it reflects where your heart really is and what you prioritize. And so hopefully you're spending a lot of that on your marriage relationship, but that's not always true.
So it's really interesting when we do the podcast. Sometimes we look at the script, we look at the topic, and we're like, yeah, this is great. Let's do this. And so to be real and to be honest, to be very transparent, the other day, Bonnie's looking over, I think this was yesterday, you're looking over
A couple of days ago, Wednesday.
this outline, and you're kind of like, hey, we need to talk. And whenever Bonnie says, hey, we need to talk, I'm always like, oh.
Well, I'm not good at asserting, and I'm just not good at that. So, yeah, I guess it does kind of come with some weight if I ever say we need to talk.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It needs to happen, right? It needs to happen.
Yeah.
But I still go, uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to share?
Well, we were looking at this busyness thing and just how, you know, how you disconnect during busy seasons and all that, and we're preparing to give you guys this great, wonderful advice, and I'm like, hey, we need to take our own advice on this. We've been a little disconnected lately. We're so busy and trying to fit in all of the ministry stuff and all the church stuff and all the kids stuff, and frankly, the kids stuff usually takes up most of it. But I'm like, I feel like we kind of drifted a little here lately, and we've been teaching. We've taught on that recently at a workshop, and then we're talking about this today. I'm like, okay, how can we remedy this?
Yeah.
Let's look at our outline and figure out how we can implement.
What did we write?
Yeah.
What did we write?
Yeah.
So it's so true. And so my question here is, you ever felt like more like roommates instead of soulmates when life gets busy?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because we can get in this divide and conquer. It's like, okay, you've got it's almost like we're building our own little kingdoms in segments, because there's seasons where ministry is really, really busy and you are so dug in, you have to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can kind of lean into you during those times when things are not quite as busy with the kids and all that. And then there are times things are crazy with the kids and you lean in to help me in that area. Well, it seems like lately both of those areas have been so busy.
Mhm.
We've almost developed our own little silos.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, we're great at this teammate stuff. We got to get back in that, okay, the soulmate thing and the moving back towards connectivity there.
Mhm.
So that, and, why you think couples disconnect during this season, I think a lot of it is because we get in those routines and then they become habit.
Mhm.
Whatever you do repeatedly, you kind of fall into that and you start doing it. And over time, if you don't course correct, it becomes your new norm.
Yeah, and I also think sometimes the thing that's disconnecting us
Mm-hmm.
might be easier
Mm-hmm.
for us, and
Mm-hmm.
so we lean into that more.
Sure.
You know, so whether it's work or whether it's kids' functions or different things like that, it
Mm-hmm.
that's easier to nurture than this. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and so we lean into that more,
Yeah.
and therefore, the longer we lean into that, and less we lean into this, the worse it is for your marriage relationship.
Right.
You know, just because you like something doesn't mean you need to do it all the time.
Sure. Well, I
Um,
mean, I know sometimes. I mean, you get in a lot of times couples can get in the habit. You're tired at the end of the day too, and you go your separate corners.
mhm.
He might do video games or go to the man cave and I don't know,
Doom
doom
scroll
scroll, and
or
she might do the same thing or binge
or
watch stuff. And
or it might be very, those are all kind of lackadaisical things, but it could be something that's very productive. It could
sure.
be, just getting the laundry done or doing stuff around the house or finishing up work.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, though, that's easier to sink into that. I'm easier, better at that
Yeah.
than this, sitting
Right.
down and intentionally, and that's the word, intentionality,
Mm-hmm.
that I think defines all of this,
For sure.
is intentionality.
But there's a
Um,
lot at stake if we allow
yeah,
ourselves to continue down a
yeah,
path of being disconnected.
yeah.
Um, what's at stake?
Well, the longer, we're all going to be disconnected here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Seasons happen, ups
Sure.
and downs happen, right? Kids still have to eat, kids still have to. We as part of marriage is dividing and conquering and
Yeah.
doing this mission together
Mm-hmm.
and high fiving at the end of it, right? At the
Yeah.
end of the day. But if we allow that season of disconnection to really take hold and really take root, then that disconnection isn't just temporary disconnection. That leads into
Mm.
being disconnected and
Yeah.
resentment, and eventually, and that can bring temptation,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's why Scripture says, "Come back together, so
Yeah.
that you're not tempted," right?
Yeah.
In that physical union. But it's kind of like, you know, eating your eating habits.
Mm.
So having a milkshake on Saturday, having a treat once a week, ain't nothing wrong with
I'm glad you said that.
that. Having a treat every day,
Yeah.
that's going to show up
It's destructive.
that's going to show up in pretty quick, but over
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of the same way. If you're disconnected a few days here and there because life is crazy, that's just going to happen.
Yeah.
But if that's every day, all the time, over time, it's the cumulative effect is really destructive.
Oh yeah. Well, on your marriage coaching video, you shared about a friend that you noticed that they changed their status from married
Yeah.
to single. Tell them about that.
Yeah, that that happens sometimes, and that you in our society, you have friends, but you kind of lose touch
Sure.
with people, and this was a guy that I had, he had gone to our church. I think they moved and all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and so then you just kind of see these people on social media,
Yeah.
and he was a friend. He wasn't like a close friend where we hung out all the time.
Right.
He was just a guy I knew, and then I saw on social that I started seeing her social that he wasn't in any of the pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and so then I went and I was like, "What's going on there?" And then as you do, I checked their status and it had changed,
Mm.
and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
And it was just one of those, that happens. There are those couples that happens to, and
It rocks
it
you.
rocks you. It just kind of, it's heartbreaking because you're like,
Wow.
that wasn't supposed to happen,
Uh-huh. Right.
And we don't come out with it's so funny. We'll come out with other things that happen in our life and be very public and ask for prayer and all that. We don't do that with marriage
Mm-mm.
issues. People don't say, out, and rightfully so. Hey, pray for my marriage. It's
Sure.
So you just don't know.
Right.
And so I didn't know.
Mhm.
And so anyway, so I called him because I have his number, and I texted him and said, hey, you have a second to chat? And so I called him, and I'm like, dude, I apologize. I just saw this on social, and he said, yeah. And I said, you mind me asking what happened? And I kind of he knows what we do. I told him what we do, so. And he told me, and he said, man, I'm going to be honest. For years, she was wanting deeper connection. And I just kind of dismissed it like, oh, she's just needy. And I was pouring all my time into my business. And granted, she didn't mind the money coming in because they were
Sure.
doing very well. And, but I'm sure if he had asked her, which would you rather, she would have
Sure.
said relationship. And he said, and then finally it was too late. And by the
Mm.
time I saw that she was
Serious about
serious
it.
about it, it was too late.
Wow.
And so then I asked him, I said, let me ask you this. I kind of a marriage coach here. I said, what would you say to couples that's
Mhm.
in that? And he said, work on your relationship,
Mm.
stay connected. Don't ignore your spouse when they say, I need more of you,
Mm.
And he said, I ignored it.
Wow.
And I just kind of cast it off like she's needy. She doesn't appreciate what I do. I work so hard. And now, I'm seeing my kids 50% of the time. And it's devastating. And that, talking about the long-term effects of staying disconnected in busy seasons. That's the example. That's an example,
Mm. Well, and it's one of those things. It's like, okay, it seems like hard to prioritize my marriage right now. You think about the cost if you don't long
Yeah.
term. And busyness will it's not even something intentionally moving away from your spouse. It's just that slow drift. And before you know it, you're in trouble.
Yep. Are you looking for a transformational investment in your marriage relationship? Well, whether you're simply looking to press the reset button, or you're heading into a new season of marriage, or maybe you need to process and debrief a particularly tough season, well, a marriage intensive could be the answer. These are private 3-day, all-inclusive intensives here at our farm retreat in the foothills of the North Georgia mountains. They include lodging, all meals, and 21 hours of coaching to help you and your spouse reconnect and strengthen your relationship. Well, if you're interested and you'd like more information, visit themarriageadventure.com/intensives.
So we've been talking about what it looks like when you have let busyness slip in and kind of move you away from your spouse. So how do we fix that? How do we remedy that? And these are conversations we've had. It's like, how can we, before we've drifted too far, how can we rein that back in?
Well, I think anything in life is a mindset shift.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's working out, or whether it's eating right, or whether it's relational, or whether it's at your work, or just it's a mindset shift.
Mm-hmm.
It's that closed mindset versus an open, forward thinking mindset. And so part of it is we have to have a mindset shift, and we have to ditch what we're going to call the leftovers mindset.
Mm.
And I think we're all okay with giving our spouse the leftovers because we just assume it'll always be there.
They're
right?
fine with it.
It's
They're
kind
fine
of
with
like that. It's kind of like when you're growing up, your relationship with when you're a teenager and college kid, your parents, you just kind of think, well, they'll always be there.
Yeah.
They're my parents. They'll always love me. And we don't, I think back now to a couple of things, when I was in college or high school that I did that probably really hurt my parents' feelings because they had feelings too. But when you're that old, you don't realize it.
Yeah.
And so you just kind of,
When
they'll
you're that
always,
young,
when you're that young. Yeah.
Now we're that old.
Yeah. And so it's the same way with our spouse sometimes. Well, the marriage, it'll be there.
Yeah.
And it won't always be there.
Mm-mm.
You just heard about our marriage intensives.
There's a reason for those.
Our rescue intensives. this is a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just allowed drift to happen in busy seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then that brings other things, right?
Yeah.
So when drift happens, it opens up temptations for affair. When drift happens, it opens up temptations for resentment,
Mm-hmm.
for unforgiveness, for all of that. So if we could remedy this and stay connected, then a lot of the other
Mm-hmm.
reasons that couples divorce or get in that place where they're thinking about divorce could be headed off and remedied.
So,
So-
what we're talking here is we're trying to figure out how to stop it in advance, to prevent moving towards those really, really rough places by
yeah.
making small investments now to kind of
Yeah.
keep it healthy.
Yeah. Get out of the mindset of giving your spouse what's left
Mm-hmm.
and prioritizing your spouse
Mm-hmm.
above other things, right?
Yeah.
Even in a lot of situations, above kids, and we talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
You know, still feed your kids. You need to clothe
Yeah.
them and house them. You need to love them. But all the stuff that your kids, because your kids don't realize they're not mature enough to not to
Say, oh, I want to
"Hey,
protect your
I want to protect your
marriage."
marriage. No, kids are going to come at you and want
Yeah.
everything, right?
Sure.
And so there's some of that stuff you just need to take back time and say,
Mhm.
hey guys, no, we're not doing that. Mom and dad need to,
Mhm.
we need some time, right?
Yeah.
Or job, right? Maybe your job's pulling at you, but is there a piece of that job that you could say no to and when you're home, you know?
Mhm.
And so there's all those year round sports, all this stuff. We've got to begin to make some room and to make a good choice, a great choice. Good choices have to go by the wayside, right?
Mhm.
So a yes always comes with a no.
Yeah.
So, and that's a shift in mindset. And so it kind of, when we look at our health, it's kind of like prevention versus repair.
Mhm.
I can either, you kind of think about most health. I heard Dr. Ben Carson say this. He said, truly, if people ate healthy, ate clean and exercise
Mhm.
and had resistance training and balance with some cardio and had good deep relationships, doctors really wouldn't be needed much.
Mhm.
And so that's prevention.
Mhm.
So it's either prevention or repair.
Yeah.
So we can ignore this thing and then have to repair it, which is really tough.
Yeah.
It can happen, but it's really tough. Or we can shift our mindset into a prevention mindset.
Well, and I think it's important to say at this point too that if you realize that there's a disconnect, if one of you realizes it and feels that disconnect, you need to go ahead and voice it and start fighting for it. And when I don't mean fight about it, I mean fight for it, saying
Fight for it.
voice the fact that you're feeling disconnected. And I mean, going to your spouse and saying, hey, I miss us. I miss time together. And maybe one of you realizes it more than the other. And a lot of times it's the female
It's going to be.
who's feeling that emotional heart connection is a little bit breached. And it's like your friend saying, she was telling me, and I ignored it. And so I think that's the beginning of it, is one of you recognizing it and saying, hey, let's move back towards connection and stop with it. Our life is too busy. And that's hard to do that because you might like the busy.
Yep, the busy's easier sometimes.
The
It's what
busy's-
you know.
It's what you know, and it seems to be working for the family and everybody else. But the harder thing is to say, hey, man, we need to look at our schedule. We got to find some time for us.
In the back of our mind, we all know what's right.
Right.
It's kind of like it's funny because Colby yesterday we were talking and he's doing this workouts. He's lifting weights at school and all that kind of stuff. And he loves the lifting,
Mm-hmm.
but he hates the HIIT cardio.
Mm-hmm.
And which I
Don't
do.
we all?
Yes, don't we all? Who loves that? And
No.
so he would when he was working out on his own, he said, I have to have a group because I'll skip
Sure.
the HIIT cardio, which is a good thing to realize.
Mm-hmm.
But he said when I was working out at home on my own, I just skipped the HIIT,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't like it. And so that was good for him that he's going to put himself in a situation that makes him do the thing he doesn't like.
Yep.
Because if we all only do the things we like,
I know.
so we can't. We know what's right.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes we want to just lean into the things that aren't healthy
Mm-hmm.
because it's easier and we like that and we enjoy it more.
Sure.
But the thing, and so going back to what you said about one spouse needs to see it and call it out.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that the other day.
Mm.
Um, and you did it in a really good way. You did it you didn't do it in a blaming way. You didn't do it in you always do that. You didn't do it in
Yeah.
the second. You said, "Hey, we need to talk." And I was like, "Okay." And so we sat down and you just said, I'm reading over this outline and I feel kind of like a hypocrite teaching this.
Yeah.
And because I don't feel like lately
Mm-hmm.
we've done this. We've connected. I feel a little distant from you.
Yeah.
And you know what that is it's keeping the finger on the pulse of your relationship.
Yeah.
So it's those heart checks, right? So today you're taking the dog to the vet for a checkup.
Yep.
And that's what this is. This is do not go. It's kind of when we were first married years and we didn't have dental insurance, so we didn't go to the dentist, right?
Oh gosh.
Well,
yes.
guess what happened? I had a bunch of cavities.
Uh-huh.
But when you go to the dentist twice a year, you stay up on that and
Yeah.
and that's what those conversations are. They're
Yeah.
just they're hard. No one likes them. They're blah,
Yeah.
but they're
Well, and it was
really needed.
hey, I miss us. It wasn't a you this or, you're bad because of this or this is your fault. It was hey, we've taken our eye off the ball, both of us.
Yeah.
We've both kind of allowed other things to slip in, and we got to get that back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's good. So I think a way, so let's talk about some ways we can reconnect.
Yeah.
Is busy ever going to stop?
No, not until we're dead.
No. Rightfully so. We can make some choices.
Mhm.
So all encompassing, all the time busy doesn't have to, happen.
Mhm. Mhm.
We can make some choices that reins it in a little bit.
And that's hard because choices usually mean saying no to someone or lots of
It
someone's.
means disappointing somebody.
Yes, or lots of somebody's.
That's right.
So yeah.
Yes, somebody's going to be disappointed and upset at you,
Uh-huh.
But I'd rather you not be disappointed and upset at me
Same.
than others. So,
What are some practical things we can do then?
yeah, capturing the little moments, especially in those busy seasons, is huge. And so, here's some practical examples. And we talk about this a lot. If you listen to us much, going to bed at the same time.
Yes.
It's huge. And I've talked a couple. It's so funny. I was in an intensive one time, and this has happened a couple times. But this one time, I'm talking about this, and I'm writing it on the whiteboard I have. And these guys are here for a rescue, and they were in a bad way. And he said, "Yeah, that can't happen." And I said, "Okay, let's talk about that. Why?" He goes, "I can't go to sleep, that early." And and so I said, "Okay, let me ask you something. If you got a new job and they required you to be there at 4:30 a.m.,
Mm-hmm.
what would you
What would
do?
change? Yeah.
What would change?" Yeah, I'd have to go to bed earlier. Okay. So
Yeah.
we've established a new understanding. You can do it. What's
You're choosing
more
not
important?
to.
You're choosing not to.
Sure.
So retrain your body, right? Retrain your priorities.
Mhm.
And it's a small ask for a big return because going to bed together, it allows you pillow talk. It allows you a little margin at the end of the day to chat, right? Don't sit in bed and binge watch something.
Yeah.
Sit there and chat and talk and hold and cuddle and maybe do some other, fun married things, as we always say. But that's a
Mhm.
very little practical
Yep.
thing.
Well, and maybe we can find time to just grab coffee first thing in the morning, even if the kids are still asleep. If you can get up early enough, if you're not a nighttime person, do that in the morning, first thing over, and grab 15 minutes while the house is still quiet and talk. And we've done that too.
Yep. You're talking out of a 24-hour day, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Just get up 15 minutes earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. People are like, yeah, I just can't do that. Oh, you could do it if other things wanted it, right? If your kids
Yeah.
came in and said, hey, I got a baseball thing, or I got a gymnastics thing, or
my boss needs me to
school
be-
needs me there, or my boss needs
Yeah.
me there, you would find a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is changing the priority of our spouse,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And not giving the leftovers. So get up 15, 20, 30 minutes early, have coffee and breakfast, sit around the table,
Yeah.
and just You can talk about the day. That's fine. Talk about what the kids are doing, but connect.
Yeah.
So, or you could do that over lunch, and this is a big one.
I think this one is huge. It's being aware of choosing to connect with each other instead of scrolling. Because that, golly, I mean, there's so many times we're all sitting in the living room and I'll look around and we are all on something, a computer,
Yeah.
a phone. We're all in the same room, but we are completely disconnected.
Yep.
And we've always said that's the word. We've always preached against that. But I look around sometimes, I'm like, oh, we're doing it too.
Yep.
And
sure do.
we've got to make that a priority to not just sit and scroll, but to look up and connect with each other.
Yep.
Because it's a huge temptation, because that's easy. It's mindless. You can just sit there and scroll and look at what other people are doing, or look at reels and laugh, and that's great. But you know what? You're not talking or connected.
We've all connected over funny reels.
Well, no,
we'll
that's
sit there
true.
and scroll the same reels and laugh.
Sometimes the whole family does that, and that's kind of
and
fun, but-
laughter's fun. And
Yeah, that's
we're not
good.
saying you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but
Mhm.
but yes. So I think that's huge. Here's another great metaphor, and I mentioned this in my coaching video. Is think of it like an eating metaphor: snacks versus meals.
Mm.
So if you're really busy and you don't have time to sit down and eat a really good meal, what are you gonna do? Well, you're not gonna just stop eating. You're gonna snack. You're gonna graze. You're gonna grab something
Yeah.
to kind of tide you over into that. And that's another good way to look at these busy seasons. Is okay. We don't have time for date night this week,
Mhm.
or we don't have time for a getaway, or these really big slots of reconnection. Well, grab some snacks, right?
Yeah.
Connect, and these little practical examples we just gave you are really good examples of those little snacks, right?
Mhm.
Or and we teach this too. The Gottmans came up with this. John Gottman is bids for connection
Mm.
throughout the day. Just recognizing throughout the day each other, and so that could be a text, or a sweet text, or hey, I'm praying for you today. I know you had this meeting, or it's a hug as you're passing in the hallway. Just some little connection point.
Or refilling my coffee. That
Refilling your coffee.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
These are, take advantage of the little snacks throughout the day of
Mhm.
connection when you can't have the big meals, and that can tide you over.
Well, I know, we were pretty good about this for a while, is after dinner when we'd have the kids do the dishes and we would just take a walk, even if it was for like 15,
Yep.
20 minutes, we would have 15
We
minutes.
did it the other night.
Yep. And that was a great little, I was like, I missed this. This was awesome. And so
Mhm.
that was a good little thing. So,
Yeah, if you have teenagers, make them clean the kitchen and do the dishes. They need to know how to do that stuff. And then you guys go for a walk. That is, if you're eating dinner together.
that's true.
know.
That's true.
So so that's good. So capture the little moments. That's
Mhm.
kind of that. And then here's another thing: calendar connection.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, at least
Yes.
one of you in your marriage is a calendar, in your relationship is a calendar person.
Yeah, and if it's on my calendar, I'm gonna keep it, and whatever gets calendared is gonna be a priority.
Mhm.
Lunch with somebody else is gonna be a priority. If you've got it on the calendar, you're gonna do that. Why not say, hey, let's calendar lunch occasionally. Let's go have a lunch date. Let's go, you know, let's put our date night on there, or even our walk after dinner. Let's prioritize it so that a phone call doesn't slip in and other things. And
Husbands, you want to really impress your wife, send her a calendar request for a connection.
yes, yeah, that would be
Yep.
awesome.
Yep. You want more sex? Send her a calendar request for a connection. She might be
Oh
like,
my gosh,
let's change what we're doing in that connection.
I know.
Yes, what gets scheduled gets prioritized. Now, do not let other things crowd it out.
Right.
It's
Well,
just
it is easy to say, well, okay,
we
well,
can
let's
bump
just.
that
Uh-huh.
and work this in. No, priority. Make it a priority.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's good. I love this this understanding of this verse. You probably all said this in your wedding. What God has joined together, let
Mhm.
no one separate.
Mm-hmm.
And we tend to only think that's people, right? Don't let
Yeah.
people separate you. But we allow busyness to separate us.
Yeah.
And so Scripture tells us what God has joined together in your marriage, do not let busyness separate you. Do not let kids separate you. Do not let things
Yeah.
separate you.
And remember, this is a covenant relationship. kids are not.
Nope.
Your job is not. Your friendships outside of marriage are not.
Nope.
But this is worth fighting for. And get that stuff on the calendar, or it's going to separate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Here's another thing. So we've talked about capturing the little moments, calendaring connection, put a deadline on busy seasons.
Yeah.
Like we said earlier, busy's not going to stop.
Mhm.
Busy's always going to be there. The problem is with us that we've noticed is when there's no light at the end of the tunnel,
Mm-hmm.
when there's no deadline on the busy.
Yep.
And so in my coaching video, I use this as an example, like when running a marathon, or when running or any race, you have a finish line.
Yep.
And so
If I know it's coming, I can push a little harder
I can
just
push
to get
harder.
there.
Man, mile 22 of every marathon I've run is the hardest. And it hits me physically, it hits me emotionally. I'll be very honest. For some reason, all 3 marathons I've done, I cry. Like I tear up, I get
Nice.
emotional at mile 22. I don't know what it is. My body's depleted, my mind's depleted.
Yeah.
But yet the thing that I was very vulnerable right there.
I'm proud of you.
And it's a happy cry. Like, I love my life, I love my family, God. But the thing that keeps me going is to know that that finish line
It's right there.
is 4.2 miles away.
You got
right.
this.
And I've got this.
Yeah.
And so put a deadline on busy seasons. Don't
Mhm.
just let it be endless. And then have a break before the next busy season starts back up. And I always harp on these youth sports, but there used to be seasons. There's
Yeah.
baseball season, football season, basketball season. Now, if you're in a travel sport, that sport's all year.
It's year round.
And it's a money making thing, right? That's the reason. And
Sure.
they say, oh, we're making your kid this great college athlete. No, they want money,
Right.
right? And so don't let the seasons in life not have an end.
Right.
There needs to be some sort of break, reprieve, connection before
Yes.
you start the next one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So and you said that to me one time years ago. You had one of those conversations and you said, I feel like you're choosing to cheat with work.
Mm.
And I was like, oh. And you said, as long as there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I'm
Yeah.
okay. But it's when there's no light at the end of the tunnel, I feel claustrophobic.
Yep. Man. Well, we got to protect our marriage, and that's in busy seasons. It all comes in changing our mindset, and we got to capture those little moments. We got a calendar connection, and we got to set an end date to the busy so that we can make sure that this is our priority in marriage.
That's exactly right. So your marriage can thrive even in the busiest of times. You just have to be intentional and prioritize it. So thank you guys so much for joining us on the podcast today. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe us on social. Go check out our YouTube channel. There's stuff coming out every Monday, every Wednesday. Y'all have a great week.
We are all